The wind is blowing, blowing. 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 The wind is blowing, blowing me so over you, blowing me and it's so true, blowing me and I see you, blowing me and I see you, blowing me and it's so true, blowing me and I see you. It's gone, the wind is blowing, blowing. The wind is blowing, blowing. The wind is blowing, blowing. The wind is blowing, 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 blowing. The wind is blowing, blowing. The wind is blowing, blowing me, and I see you, blowing me, and it's so true. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Breathe? The wind is blowing. Times are changing. Things are being rearranged. Eyes are being opened. Hearts are being streamlined. And energy is being harvested, but not in a negative way, but in a way that brings about enlightenment of self and opens up the heart so that we can better receive the gifts, the anointing, the benefits of understanding yourself. Yes, it's always shifting from day to day. The reason why is because evolution is happening. People stay the same because they're not open to the positive currents. We're open to the negative currents that allow our emotions to take us to places that are not productive or counterproductive. You know what I'm saying? Well, let's just take it as it comes right now. A lot of times, when a place seems like it's negative, it's not necessarily negative, you know. But how can you expect someone on the outside looking in to understand the process that's going on inside of you when you barely understand it yourself? So I totally understand that. Someone who is in a negative place, watch the cues of what you know about history of people. People that are in negative places don't from day to day bounce into another place unless they're bipolar or something like that. But sometimes the place that deals with contemplation of what's going on, and maybe even referencing back to pains and things like that, it's not necessarily negative. And this is one of the reasons why people run from looking at their pain, because they only see it as negative. There's growth in investigating your pain. There's growth in looking back to the things that have happened to you and then seeing like yourself. As far as my situation, where an ongoing investigation is going on, I may have to, you know, because like I always say, but I don't know how many times you can say it before people get it. The only reason why I'm alive today is because I speak out and I talk about this stuff. It really is. The only reason why there's a chance for justice to be served is because I speak out and talk about this stuff. I don't know if anybody ever is going to understand that or get it, especially if you've never been through that type of thing. So it's what it is. Time will tell. Time will show. All right. So I got a couple things that I want to share. And first and foremost, um, breathe. I don't know if this is a message for you, but I know that I have a message that God put on my heart to share. And the energy of this message, yeah, it is. The energy of this message, before I start, because I'm going to read some more writings from Khalil Gibran and discuss them, but the energy that I'm tapping into right now is the energy of a liar. Now, I don't know, this may be for somebody else or it may be for me, but the energy says this one uses words to control and manipulate others. Do not believe anything this person tells you. That's the energy. Now, overall energy doesn't necessarily mean that there's a negative outcome. A negative message given does not mean that a negative consequence or a negative effect is coming. Because sometimes a negative message or a message that appears negative, given in a timely manner at the right time, can lead for a revelation to avoid negativity. So that was the overall energy, but the message is a message of transformation. It's a message of transformation. And transformation represents like uh, a birth from the ashes, coming out of a flame, renewed, reborn. But anytime you go into a flame, one thing that you can be sure of is that something is left and burnt away. This could be people, this could be habits, this could be the ways in which you look at people or habits or things or places or circumstances. But I know that there's an overall energy of a liar. That's what I know. And this is general, so it's not going to apply to everybody, this message, but it's for somebody that's going to be watching this. There's an energy of a liar that shouldn't be believed, that uses words to control and manipulate others. I got three messages, and one message has a Bible verse connected to it. Proverbs 18, verse 19. A brother offended is more unyielding than a strong city. A brother offended is more unyielding than a strong city. Someone is offended here. And there's going to be a lot of patience and caution are going to be needed here for whoever this message is for. The overall energy is of a liar. The message is about transformation. And there is offense here. There is offense. It doesn't have to be a brother. It could be someone that you consider a brother. It could be someone that you consider family. Someone you're close to. And someone is offended. It could be you or it could be that person. The message is a brother offended is more unyielding than a strong city. Which means that if you are the one that offended someone because you lied to somebody, a lot of patience and caution will be needed. But if someone lied to you, they should not be trusted. Nothing that they tell you at this time. If you're offended, then you should realize, you're offended for a reason. And, some people that lie to you and offend you, when they get wind of it, they come with an apology, and the apology is not real. It's just so that they continue to tell more lies to you, so that you'll open up. Caution is needed. But I have more messages, because the next message is another Bible verse, Isaiah 41, verse 10. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. The power of God is with you to deal with these lies. It's a message of better days coming. It's a message that things are getting better. You must believe it will get better, because it will. And you have to believe it. But let's not ignore the patience and the caution that is needed. Let's not ignore that. The last message is a message of courage. Courage has to do with facing fear. And you cannot face fear unless you feel it. And you allow yourself to feel it. But you see it as something to conquer and overcome. Conquering and overcoming something has nothing to do with throwing it away and acting like it's not there. That's not conquering and overcoming anything. That's running and hiding. You must face your fear. And that is the definition of courage. This courage particularly represents God's protection, spiritual protection, that comes out and manifests in physical form. You have nothing to fear is the message from God. You have nothing to fear. Who can be against you if God is for you? And the Bible verse connected to that is Proverbs chapter 3, verse 26. This whole message is a message of transformation. It's a death, in a sense, of something, of an old way of thinking, of an old way of doing things, and a transformation that leads to a rebirth. It's going to take patience and caution. It's going to take faith that things are getting better. And it's going to take courage to face a fear, because you're afraid of this liar or these lies. They use words to control and manipulate others, and nothing they say should be believed at this time. An offense was done. I don't know how serious it is. Could be a small thing, could be a big thing, could be something small. But the small things are indicators of big things. There's a whole bunch of pennies in a dollar. There's a whole bunch of dollars in $100 bill. There's a whole bunch of $100 in $1,000 bill, and so on and so forth. The large amount was made up of the small amounts. Better days are coming. Courage. Face the fear because you're protected by God. You must believe it will get better, though. You must believe that. I'm not saying that whoever lied is going to be a liar forever, but at this time, until the offense is passed, best to be very cautious. A transformation is afoot. The energy surrounding you is a liar right now for someone. And someone is offended by these lies and needs to exercise caution and patience at this time. But also to believe that things are getting better. And there's a lot of fear here. There's a lot of fear here. But the message from Isaiah 41:10 says, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you." You must believe it will get better because it will. And then there's a message of courage. And underneath those lines, it says God's protection. You have nothing to fear. Who can be against you if God is for you? It's a message telling you that you need to depend on God to get past your fear. Now, there's a verse, Proverbs 3:26, and I didn't write what the verse was, so I'm going to go into Proverbs and try to read it because I think this is very important. Proverbs is one of the books of wisdom, coupled with the Psalms and Job. And I think Ecclesiastes is also part of the books of wisdom. All right, so 3:26, Proverbs 3:26. It reads, "For the Lord will be at your side and will keep your foot from being snared." If you're a person that doesn't believe in God, I don't know what you can do. You need to think about something greater than yourself to tap into a strength that's greater than yours. Because for so long you have fallen victim to your fear. And that's because you've totally been relying on yourself. You haven't had any other thing that you could rely on to deal with the difficulties of the people, circumstances around you, that you always had an intuition or an inkling were not being honest with you, were being controlling and manipulative. It's time for you to think about the benefit of believing in something greater than you for real. What's the downside? I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that if I decide to think that there's something greater than me and I decide to rely on that power, I feel stronger. I feel more resilient. I feel like I can take on things that I didn't feel like I could take on by myself. I feel like there's some sort of faith that I'll get through something that I know I can't get through on my own. My reality mind says, I'm not going to make it through this. I can't stand up to them. I'm in a terrible situation. I'm stuck. But my God mind tells me, somehow this is going to work out in my favor. That's the benefit of believing in something greater than yourself. It brings courage in the face of fear. I hope someone received that message, and I hope that it helped out in some type of way. So therefore, there's God. Because eventually, depending on God leads to other people. I depended on God through everything I've been through. And now I'm talking to you. And there's other people that come and listen to what I have to say. And it was all because I chose to go somewhere else for help. I didn't give up on help. I just changed the way I looked at it. So you understand. But it doesn't stop there, because even though we have these inclinations and we have these times where we turn to God and He helps us, there will be one situation where we will feel like we can't turn to God for, or we won't turn to God for. God can help me with this, but no, He can't help me with that. We're not consciously saying that, but the fact that we don't go to Him, the fact that we don't rely on Him, the fact that we don't even put Him at the table with our decisions and certain decisions says that we don't want Him there. Because if you want Him there, you will go to Him and consider Him. You will ask, like, God, what should I do in this situation? But there are situations that we deal with that are difficult that we don't do that. Maybe we think it's too small. What is too small for someone that loves you to death? What is too small for someone that loves you like you are the greatest thing in the world? Once Jesus died for us, and Jesus being God's beloved and also a part of Him and also Him, when He died in human form, all that greatness that was in Him was transferred to you. So therefore, God literally looks at you in the same way that He looks at Jesus. And I got a toenail broke. And you may think God doesn't care. Think about a person that humanly loves you, someone who really humanly loves you. If your toenail broke, and I'm just saying this because this is like something that we might consider minuscule, and you screamed out, would that person that truly, truly loves you just be like, I don't care? Would that person that truly, truly loves you, would they be like, what's wrong? Are you okay? Let me get you some ice. Let me get you this. Let me do this. I care. So why would you think that God doesn't care about small things that go on with you? God is a part of you and you are a part of God. There is nothing small enough that He doesn't care about when it comes to you. There is nothing that anyone should tell you, oh, don't bother God with that. That's ridiculous. That's people that don't understand love. So I hope that helped at all, Breathe, and anybody else. I'm going to open up with some reading from this book that amazes me every time I read it. Before I get started and break into some of this craziness that Khalil Gibran be talking about. Shoosh, it's so deep. And I got another deep one. Okay. Psalm 26. Vindicate me, Lord, For I have led a blameless life. I have trusted in the Lord and have not faltered. Test me, Lord, and try me. Examine my heart and my mind. For I have always been mindful of your unfailing love and have lived in reliance on your faithfulness. I do not sit with the deceitful, nor do I associate with hypocrites. I abhor the assembly of evildoers, and refuse to sit with the wicked. I wash my hands in innocence and go about your altar, Lord, proclaiming aloud your praise and telling of all your wonderful deeds. Lord, I love the house where you live, the place where your glory dwells. Do not take away my soul along with sinners, my life with those who are bloodthirsty, in whose hands are wicked schemes, whose right hands are full of bribes. Mm. I lead a blameless life, deliver me, and be merciful to me. My feet stand on level ground. In the great congregation, I will praise the Lord. That's deep. And I feel like it's relative, even though I know that I'm not a blameless soul. But in this situation, absolutely. So, someone made a comment the other day because I talk about how I'm in the process of healing a lot. And they came on and they said, "Is that a cigarette you're smoking? Healing?" That's what they said. And I'm trying to sit there, I'm trying to think. I wonder what that person does all day that makes them feel like they should come on here and judge me. Or maybe it's that they feel like I should never say that I'm healing unless I'm perfect. I wonder if I didn't smoke any cigarettes, would that convince them that I'm healed, right? No, no. So it was just something to say, to throw a jab, because as a person in the process of healing, if they used to smoke packs of cigarettes a day and they're down to smoking 3 cigarettes a day, would you say that a person might be in the process of healing from something? So without asking how many cigarettes I smoke a day, they assume that just because there's a cigarette in my hand and I'm not hiding it, because I could easily hide it and act like I don't, smoke at all. I could do that. There's a lot of people that, and probably including that person, who hide the things they do so no one can see them. No, just a real person trying to keep it real. There's a lot of stress. Got rid of a lot of things. Don't drink. Don't get high. Not having promiscuous sex out there. Got my confidence back. Doing some real positive things with my life. Sharing things with other people about what I learned. And they say, "Is that a cigarette in your hand? Healing?" Boy, some people, man. But, I think that sometimes it's just, yeah, what I'm saying? Like, God has a time frame for us, and as we advance on our healing process, if we're doing the work, things will change. There are some times where I want to get up and think about, yeah, I want to smoke a cigarette, but then there's something in me that feels like, nah, I don't really feel like it right now. And see, and that's what happens, like when you start to change. When you start to really change, the desire for things, they decrease, but they're not going to decrease at the pace of what somebody else wants it to, so that they can see, oh, okay, yes, I am convinced now that you are telling the truth. Nah, that's not here to convince anybody that I'm telling the truth. I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm being who I'm being, and I'm not trying to pretend to be anybody I'm not. You can be in the healing process and not be 100% healed. How is it that people don't understand that? Why are people still looking for a perfect person when there is none? And does that mean that nobody is healing because they're not perfect? Like, what is the logic behind what people are saying? Just decide to come out and say. Let me see. You said a while back, Breathe, you said, I became buried in all the pain and anger from the abuse and neglect. Like I didn't even think about asking God for help. Blind. That's beautiful, because it's realizations like that that seem ugly and seem painful that actually lead a person to change. Thinking about what we did wrong in the past, or thinking about how we neglected our own uh, selves, and being able to see it and articulate it is part of healing. It is. The presentation of that in and of itself is a part of healing. That's why I always say healing does not look like healing. I don't know. Is there somebody who could watch my videos back from when I was acting crazy, when first that chick did that stuff to me, and I was all on Facebook and all on video acting crazy and going and so distraught and hurt, up until they can see me now and say that I haven't healed from something? I don't really understand people's logic. Only thing that I can think is people don't believe you. Okay. People think you're full of crap. People think you're lying. People think you're just coming on here saying things and every single day to try to lie to people. I guess there are some people that do that, and I guess that's why. There's people with pages and channels and stuff like that that they purposely lie and put a front up in order to get some popularity, some money, some attention, got nothing to do with their lives, whatever the case may be. They don't have a purpose. They don't even understand what it is to have a purpose. So they're looking at you like you're just like them. Rare people, light workers, empaths, we all have this road because we're different. And people don't want to believe anybody's different than them, because in some people's minds, being different tells them that there's somebody that's better than them. And that's not even what it is. But in their mind, if someone is different than them, doing something different than them, has more motivation than them, survived more things than them, went through things they haven't gone through, can talk about things they can't talk about, can speak languages they can't speak, they get intimidated. It has nothing to do with you. Nothing at all. And everything to do with their own weak, insecure selves. And they want to project themselves on the other people. Some people just really wish they could steal your shine. Just steal it. Take your strength right away from you. All right, so I got a little bit of time. I want to share a little bit of Khalil Gibran's ratings. And one of these days, when I was locked up, I had a Bible quiz. I had a quiz on some questions that I wrote with a point system and everything like that for Anybody who really thinks they got a lot of knowledge about the Bible, maybe one day I'll put that on and see how much people really learn, really know. There were some pastors I stumped with some of the questions I had in there. Okay, so this is what Khalil Gibran, not my writings, had to say about giving. So this is Khalil Gibran on giving. And what he writes is this: you give but little when you give of your possessions. I know this is something that my Aunt Diane doesn't want to hear because she feels like she gave the world because she gives some money. This says, you give but little when you give your possessions. Possessions includes material things, money, anything external from you that's not a part of you, really. And I'm not talking about things that you consider a part of you. You give but little when you give of your possessions. It is when you give of yourself that you truly give. That's one thing a lot of people are not willing to do. For what are your possessions but things you keep in guard for fear you may need them tomorrow? And tomorrow, what shall tomorrow bring to over prudent? Oh, let me say that again. And tomorrow, what shall tomorrow bring to the overprudent dog burying bones in the trackless sand as he follows the pilgrims to the holy city? That's deep. What shall tomorrow bring to the overprudent dog, the overly protective, low vibrational person burying bones, coveting all his or her possessions, material things, in the trackless sand, hiding it away where no one can see, removing the tracks that they have it, burying secret treasures in the dirt. As they follow the pilgrims to the holy city, doing all that and then trying to follow the pilgrims to the holy city, when they know that the people there don't value any of that. They leave themselves outside of the gates of the place that they mean to enter. And while they're inside of the holy city, of the sanctuary, they're half there and half outside with all their possessions. And what is fear of need but need itself? The fear of need creates a need. Is not dread of thirst when your well is full, the thirst that is unquenchable? It's not dread of thirst when your well is full, the thirst that is unquenchable. Your well is full. You're well taken care of. You have security. You have the things you need. And yet you have this dread of losing it. What it creates is never being satisfied, never appreciating what you have, an unquenchable thirst, always wanting more. This is also known as greed. There are those who give little of the much which they have, and they give it for recognition, and their hidden desire makes their gifts unwholesome. And this is something that is very hidden, especially if someone is hurting or going through some terrible time where their finances are in trouble. And then someone comes like Ellen DeGeneres or Oprah or someone else and gives them a house and gives them a car. The person is just so happy and feels so blessed that they receive something that no one is paying attention to the fact that maybe those people that gave it did not give it from their heart, but because they're receiving a tax write-off. They don't really care about the people at all or whoever gets it, just as long as they get their tax write-off. Not saying that those women don't care, but I've seen a lot of that from them. And how will we know? It's not like they're going on their talk shows just talking about their personal lives the whole time, sharing about themselves the whole time. Do we really know them? Illusion. And there are those who have little and give it all. I remember all I had was a house to my name. But when I married a woman that I thought I loved or I thought loved me, I said to her one day, I said, I'd give this to you. And it was all that I had. These are the believers in life and the bounty of life, and their coffer is never empty. And I see that no matter what situation I'm in, no matter how bad things got, I always found it a way where I was provided for, where security was maintained for me, where I always had what I needed. All my life, I've always had what I needed. And people would look at me as if I'm lucky or privileged. And I'm just talking about the bare necessities. And people are looking at me like I'm lucky or I'm privileged. It was the energy that I was bringing back to myself because of the faith that I had that I was always going to get more. I was always going to be okay. And what I did because I believed in that, because of what I gave to others. It was because of what I was willing to part with that the universe brought back to me, that God brought back to me safety and security when it seemed to be snatched right underneath me. There was always a way for me. And that was only because of what I was willing to give and sacrifice for the benefit of others, for the benefit of love, for the benefit of gratefulness, gratitude. It's something that I'm not sure that after all of this, I'll be able to look at the same way again. There are those who give with joy, and that joy is their reward. That's how it was for me when my love language, which was giving. That was my love language. That's not the language of just, I'm just someone who wants to please people. People confuse the love language of giving with people pleasing. And they say, oh, all of you can go take advantage of this person. Nah, if I don't love you, you're not getting that from me. So then they say, oh, well, just make them fall in love with you and they'll give you anything. No, I'm not stupid. Sometimes you can't help who you love, you know? Doesn't mean you're stupid. Illusions. Sometimes in people's desire to put illusion on you, they put an illusion on themselves. But sometimes there's still lessons for us to learn. So we make dumb mistakes. We trust people that we shouldn't. And then we learn from it. Or the same entity appears again in another person to do the same thing to you again until you learn from it. Until you learn from it. And what I mean learning, I don't mean learn how to close your heart down and close your feelings down. No, I mean learn how to see who should be given to and who shouldn't. You don't have to close yourself down to say no to somebody. It's okay. I'm going to say no, and I might feel a little upset about it. Like, damn, I wish I didn't have to say no to them. I wish they didn't do what they did so that I had to say no to them. I wish they didn't show me that they're shisty and slimy, so I had to say no to them. And it might hurt for a little bit because I don't like to be that way. But I'll get over it. Just like they will. They'll move on to another person and try to take advantage of another person. And eventually, God will deal with them for doing that. Nobody gets away with anything. It doesn't matter if it takes years. I'm telling you. Sometimes you don't have to physically retaliate against somebody. You don't have to physically do things against somebody sometimes. A lot of times. And though sometimes you do have to do something. Many times. You got to do something, you know. You're about to do it again. This morning, wanting to jump in and help a person that has shown they're a liar and a user, never there for me. So maybe that message in the beginning was for you. Maybe it was. I don't know. Go back to the beginning and trust what was said there, and just take what applies and leave what doesn't, and hopefully it'll help you. Not from me, from God. There are those who give with joy, and that joy is their reward. And there are those who give with pain, and that pain is their baptism. I don't really think I need to explain that, but I'll say it again. And there are those who give with pain, and that pain is their baptism. Baptized in pain, drenched in it, soaked in it. You know how the holy waters cleanse, and then that holy water becomes a part of the new you and a light that's on you coming from the baptism? The baptism of pain brings a new you, and the darkness becomes a part of you when you give with pain. I imagine giving with pain looks like strings attached, giving somebody something so later on you can throw it in their face later on, or either because you're thinking that you'll get twice or three times as much back from them later on, a scheme, a scam. baptized in pain because they have no idea what's coming from the things that they've done, the internal things that are coming, the pain that they have to live with, and then try to drown out in drugs, sex, or whatever, relationships, maybe bury themselves in working. But the guilt always finds a way to get through in the end. It is well to give when asked, but it is better to give unasked through understanding. And to the open handed, the search for one who shall receive is joy greater than giving. I look around and sometimes I find that there's no one that I feel like I can trust to give to that won't decide, oh, he's a mark. Let's try to get anything we can from them. So when I see that characteristic and that attitude, I don't give to them. When I observe and hear them lie about things or brag about things that they have and they really don't have it, or put up a front in front of a group of people, you're not going to really know someone until you see them around their old friends before you knew them. You see them around their old family before you knew them. See how they deal with other people, how they treat other people. Maybe see how they deal with someone who owes them something. Maybe see how they talk about people behind their back. Those people, I'm not going to give anything to any of them. Not while they're in that energy. People do change, but while they're in that energy, I don't want to, because I see that giving to that type of person will put like a flashlight up in that person's mind. And then they will think that this is a thing, you know what I mean, for them, rather than taking it as being grateful. So the search for someone to give to that you feel like is worthy of your gifts and will not take advantage of it. Oh, what a joy when you find them. I'm grateful for you, Breathe. I'm grateful. There's a joy. I'm grateful for the people that respond on here and say something. I'm grateful for the feedback that I get from people um, that listen to something I have to say and they feel like there's an inspiration, or they feel like there's something good. You know what I'm saying? It makes me feel like I matter. It makes me feel like I have come a long way and actually put in the work. It's proof that I put in the work. It's proof that people see me. And it's me giving of myself is like giving a gift. Me giving of the wisdom that I learned is like giving of a gift. You know what I'm saying? And it creates a constant elevation. It creates peace. What do I mean by that? Uh, the word Peace was broken down by RZA from Wu Tang Clan when he was in a group called the Gravediggers. When he was in a group called the Gravediggers, he had a song, and in the song, he broke down PEACE. He said, positive energy activates constant elevation. PEACE. He said, positive energy activates constant elevation. Now, there are some people that will distort positive energy and think that, oh, I got away with getting this money from this person. That's positive. No, no, it's not. Taking from someone else is not positive energy you're cultivating. That's a delusion. Positive energy is like patience, waiting with a positive attitude, even if you don't know what's coming, even if you don't know how long you're going to wait. While you're waiting with a positive attitude, you're not just having patience, you're actually generating an energy frequency that is going to generate something else because it exists now. You see what I'm saying? The existing energy that you occupy or you cultivate or you bring forth will create not only something in you, but a magnetic trajectory, a pull outside of yourself, pulling certain things into your perception, things that were already there, but maybe you didn't see or notice because of the perception you were occupying, because of the energy that you were cultivating. So if you cultivate a different energy, it will affect your perception. You know how they say the mind controls the body, or the body controls the mind controls the body, whatever. They all affect each other. So the energy is coming from your other chakras. Most of your chakras are mainly in your body, other than the crown chakra. So they're mostly in your body, and from those chakras, energy is generated, and that energy that's generated creates a pressure. That pressure has to go somewhere. So it's either going to go, it could go up or it can go down, or it can be dispersed between both areas, the crown chakra and the root chakra. Whatever the case may be, it eventually gets dispersed to your crown. It actually gets transferred or sent in a way so that your mind can quantify what it is, can use it, do something with it. And this also happens vice versa. Your mind also affects all the other chakras as well. Your crown chakra affects all the other chakras as well. And then all your other chakras affect your crown chakra as well. It's a back and forth thing. And if you don't take control of what's going on, it will just do its own thing. And then you'll have this going on with no control. So instead of trying to control others' perceptions, trying to get people to not to like another person because you don't like them and all that stuff, why not trying to control yourself? Why not try to control yourself? Learn about yourself. Learn about the energies that are inside yourself and how to take control of them so that they don't just do anything. Because the majority of the people that you hate or dislike and the things that you feel that you don't like, they don't come from you. You weren't born with those ideas. It's energy going on. It has to do with your perception of things, which has to do with perceptions that other people gave you. It's follower mentality. Of course, there are things that we don't like and do like. Throughout life, we learn these things. But when we get to the point where we're trying to influence other people to not like those things or like those things, something else has happened in our energy. It's become too important. There are people that I am so important on their mind that they went to the extent of trying to stop every opportunity that I had, whether it was a love opportunity, whether it was a job opportunity, whether it was friends, whether it was being seen, whether it was plagiarizing my work and trying to stake my work to make sure I don't have anything. Who would give you that much of their energy? Who would give you that much power over their life? Who would spend that much energy trying to change people's opinion of you? This is it. It has something to do with the chakras being messed up, the energy in a person being distorted and confused and just ripped up. The root chakra is just, that's part of it. Like, it's all connected to the same type of thing. But it has to do with energy frequencies in the body. A balanced energy frequency in the body, like throughout the body, creates a just mentality. It creates a balanced mentality. A person would be more concerned about their personal development and growth than they would about trying to cause harm to another person or to take from another person. You know what I'm saying? But a person that has an extreme imbalance in those things, that's an unstable person. And eventually uh, enough of that, if that goes on for a long enough time, those energies in the body can actually create a mental stability that actually leads to a psychosis or a mental illness. notwithstanding those people who are born with a mental illness. All you have shall someday be given. Yes, everything you have will one day be given to somebody else. Everything, everything you have, even your body will be given back to the earth. Everything you have will someday be given. That doesn't seem to matter to people, but it's true. Therefore, give now, that the season of giving may be yours and not your inheritors. Since everything you have will be given, wouldn't it be more beneficial if you actually had control over what is given that you have? Or just wait till you die and just let somebody else be in charge of what is given? My mother, she passed away and decided not to really have a will or anything like that, or explain to us what to do with the house or anything like that, or even let us know what she was doing. So there was no energy of, I want to give this to you, even though words were said. There was no energy of, I'm preparing you for this. There's no energy of, I know that what I have will be given eventually. So let me make sure this is directed in a direction that says I'm responsible, that says I I want to help others, my loved ones. There was none of that. And there's a lot of people today that if you reach a certain age, you need to set up a will. And you need to safeguard that will so that when you're gone, your crooked family members don't try to alter it so that somebody else in your family doesn't get something out of it, like what my family did to me. You need to make sure there's safeguards hooked up for that, because you get to a certain age and a certain illness, there's going to be one family member that's going to stay very close to you, and they're going to try to manipulate you and con you into not giving somebody something or letting them give something and all this. This is not everybody. This is not everybody. But I'm telling you, a lot of elderly people, elderly parents have a sibling that's really close to them because they're hoping that they can get the majority of the inheritance, or either trying to scam. Nurses do the same thing. Some caretakers. And what is the most evil is the female nurses or caretakers that will take care of children just so they can get money. And none of those parents have no idea what those women are doing to those children. I was one of those kids. I was left with a caretaker who used to terrorize me and treat me like I was nothing. And there was nothing I could say to my parents about it. I was too afraid. I was too little. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy because it's not usually men in those positions. It's usually a woman. I recently I saw videos a little while ago where they actually caught women like yanking the little kid by his arm like real hard and beating him when nobody was around. There's this movie called Antwone Fisher where I don't know if it was his aunt, but somebody was watching him, a female. And this is a true story. Antwone Fisher was a true story, a real person. She molested him for years. Molested him for years. And never got any punishment from it. Never. Just destroyed that man's mind. But somehow he overcame and made something of himself. It's called Antwone Fisher. My mother actually gave me the book when I was in prison. And that was one of the times that I really felt like she understood something about me. If there was anybody who understood something about me, it was her. And once she was gone, I really saw the truth of that she was my only protector, not from the outside world, but from my own family. And Antoine Fisher, it's a very good book and also a movie. The movie is excellent too. And that man, I wish that I would be able to meet that man one day so that I could just shake his hand and just tell him, man, how proud I am to hear about his story. And I think Tyler Perry had something to do with the production of the movie. I'm not sure, but it was one of the best movies I ever saw and that I could closely relate to. Very good movie. You often say, I would give, but only to the deserving. Didn't I just say that? I just said that. Guilty of that. What do you got, Breathe? They get away with horrific things, and we are left to pick ourselves up. Good for him overcoming it. Yeah. And no one really cares about what you've been through. They just see who you are and they judge you for it. And then some people decide because you can't talk up and speak about it to treat you even worse. So now you're getting abused, you're getting bullied, you're getting everything else, and they have no idea that you were already going through molestation, family abuse, and all this other type of stuff, and they just tack it on and tack it on and tack it on. And then you find relationships, and then the girls that you're with, they want to abuse you and control you and manipulate you and just tack it on and just tack it on and just tack it on. And then you got family members or cousins who really don't know you, and then they hear about things you're going to do, and they're going to go and talk about you and everything else, and just tack it on and just tack it on and just tack it on. And it's just like, it's crazy. How do you survive all of that? I did. I am. You often say, I would give, but only to the deserving. The trees in your orchard say not so, nor the flocks in your pastures. They care not who deserves. Good point. They give that they may live, for to withhold is to perish. So the point he's trying to make here is it doesn't matter who you give to, because the giving wasn't for you. And so I'm seeing that somewhere I knew it. That's how it came out so quick. But, this is me still dealing with pain. So this line I read here just let me know that I still have some pain to work out. It's so easy to let what people have done to you in the past influence how you live today. And we must not let ourselves become somebody that they want us to become. We must not. We must not give up on love. We must not give up on life. We must not give up on giving freely. Because I tell you, there's proof to this. I know it. Some of the pastors that people say are fraudulent today and have bad reputations, I've listened to some of their sermons and actually have felt better about myself and got closer to God because of it. And I've donated before. I've given before. And I don't feel bad because they ended up having a bad reputation. I gave to God. Whatever they did with the money, that's something that, as you can see, they eventually pay for. People get what they deserve, as you can see. But what I did something for me. It was an energy that I put out into the world, and that energy came back to me. It didn't matter that I was giving it to somebody who was going to misuse it. It didn't matter. God was paying attention to what I did because God knew they were going to get what they deserve. They were going to get what they deserve. I had nothing to do with that. But he's testing my character and seeing how I move and how I live and how I treat people. That's what he's looking at. And that's why I have always been taken care of. I've always had what I needed. I've always had some sort of level of security come up out of nowhere when all seemed lost because I have put out these things without ever knowing if it was going to come back. Your character speaks for itself. But for people that don't know you, they won't know. And if you have someone connected to you that wants to steal your character and get a jump ahead to a whole bunch of people who've never seen your character and they're pretending that it's theirs, whoo, they can cause a terror in your life and confuse everybody about who you are. And you could be lost. No one could ever see you for who you are. But God. And since God always sees you, you can't ever think that those people would prevail because the devil is not stronger than God. You may have to have a lot of faith and it may take time. But during that time, God is revealing to you all the liars and snakes and people that should never, ever be in your life again. And that's why it happened. So that you would be able to see people for who they really are, so that they will never have a chance to be around you when God promotes you and gives you these great blessings. Your giving heart, because God knows my giving heart. If these people weren't exposed, I would have been where I'm going. I would have given to them again. I would have given to these people again. I would have shared everything with my family, no matter what they said behind my back, if God didn't reveal how terrible they were. So now when I get where I'm going, I know that God doesn't mean for them to have any of it, to be a part of any of it. That's why this happened. And you have to think about it in your life as well. Those people that hurt you, why did God let them hurt you? Because you were not strong enough to look at it on your own and get away from them. If you did, you would have never had to been hurt. If you would have paid attention to the signs and disconnected, none of this would have had to happen in your relationships with your family, unfortunately. Sometimes with your children, unfortunately, or your parents. Evil people are evil people. We're not supposed to be stuck with them. It doesn't matter who they are. There's no obligation to be stuck with jacked up people who want to hurt you because they're hurting. It doesn't matter. Yes, they had a terrible story, and that's why they're doing that. Does that mean that you should be stuck suffering because they are? How does that make sense? And how does that promote self-love? How can you make that make sense? While you're on here listening to somebody talk, judging them, talking about healing, you're smoking a cigarette. And you got all this craziness going on in your life with your family and your kids and everything else. No, heal yourself and stop worrying about everybody else. Heal yourself and stop judging everybody else. The only reason why you come on and you say these things is because you're not healed. And so because you feel intimidated by someone who is healing, you want to discredit their own work that they've done all their lives. You want to discredit them because you're weak, because you're too weak to do the work by choice. By choice. And you want to be a destroyer of somebody else's work. want to give me a more accurate definition of evil? Oh, wait. The word Satan, listen, y'all need to understand and stop thinking some crazy nonsense. All of you Satanists out there and all of you covens and Wiccans, I need to explain something to you, and you need to research it for yourself. Lucifer was the name of the angel that was appointed over the other angels by God. When that angel was in its divinity, when that angel decided to betray God and accuse God and turn a third of the angels in heaven against God, his name was stripped by God. There was no more Lucifer after that because God said it, and God made you and him. And God decided there is no more except to tell the story of where he fell. At that point, his name was changed to a word, not a name. All the names we have were words, words that had spiritual meanings that described something. The word Satan literally means accuser. It is not a name, it's a word that means accuser. And this word was placed as a label on Lucifer and used as his new identification because of the character that he emitted. Satan is not a good thing. The word literally means accuser. Anyone that is an accuser can be called Satan. It is a word. They used to say it back in those times. Oh, that's Satan right there. Oh, that's Satan right there. They weren't saying that he was the devil. They were saying that's an accuser. They were saying, no, that's an accuser. No, that's an accuser. And when the way that they used the word accuser was an unrighteous accuser. An accuser with a psychological agenda, an accuser that was trying to cause deception, an accuser that was trying to cause pain, an accuser that was trying to cause destruction, an accuser that was trying to cause dissension. Because in those times, words didn't just mean mutt things like how English is. There wasn't one thing and that's it. This is from a different language. All you people that don't study languages, that are want to go around and say this or worship him or put him on a shirt. When you have the word Satan on a shirt, you have the word accuser on your shirt. You are saying, you are labeling yourself as an accuser, an unrighteous accuser. Good Lord, the ignorance. He accused God. That's how he got Eve to get the apple. That's how he got the angels to stop being obedient to God and leave. He made an accusation. He accused people. That's why that word is associated with him, because he literally was the accuser, the first accuser. Research it. Research the word, what the word means. Don't just look for things to support your argument, because people have written books that support your argument after the reality was already there. Research the reality, not the people that support your argument, because people have purposely written books to support that argument. So yes, you're going to find books, but that was after, way after. We're talking about in the beginning when the word was first invented, the origins of the word, the reason why the word was invented, what the word came from, and why the word was given. was labeled onto Lucifer after he lost his title. Lucifer was the only name that he had. He lost it and was labeled accuser. So you want to say Satan, really you should be saying accuser. Accuser. That's what you should be saying. You shouldn't even say Satan. You should say accuser. Because that's what it means. Hail accuser is what you should say. That's who you worship. Study it, research it, check it out, and then look at your own character and see the accuser in you. And then flip it. See the Satan in you. For all your unjust, inaccurate accusations placed on the innocent, which is exactly what the devil did. Placed unjust, inaccurate accusations upon the innocent God. And you judge? What about the fact that all of you that are watching this, that were a part of this, what if somebody did something like this to you? How would you respond? Like I did? So you tell me which one, who's stronger, me or you? Why you judging and accusing? All right, bet. They give that they may live, for to withhold is to perish. Surely he who is worthy to receive his days and his night is worthy of all else from you. Surely he who is worthy to receive his days and his nights is worthy of all else from you. Something simple. If he's worthy to receive his days and his nights, if he's worthy to live, then he's worthy to receive all else from you. That's deep. But we're too just judgmental to embrace that. And too afraid that we're going to lose what we have. We covet what we have too much. But isn't this something that Jesus would tell you to do? Your role model for some of you. And he who has deserved to drink from the ocean. Let me just say this. I'm not saying that people should give away their livelihood to the point where they're poor and destitute. I'm not saying that. I don't think that that will be anything that God will want you to do. But I'm saying throw away your covetousness. Your covetousness. Throw away your judgments of who deserves what. Excuse me. Even the lottery doesn't judge. I mean, whoever wins the thing, they get it. There's examples. Even though they get a cut of the money, of course, that's incentive not to judge. Yeah. So maybe that's a bad example. But you just have to think about it deeply and how it applies to you. Instead of finding what's wrong with it, find how it could be right. You got change in your pocket, and then you put it in a bottle when you go in the house, and there's a bum around the corner every time you go to the restaurant that doesn't have any money. I don't know, give him a quarter. Give him 50 cents. Give him $1. Could be something that simple. Or even what's more valuable is give them a good word. Tell them where to find a shelter. Tell them where to find a nice meal. Tell them where to find some clothes. Bring them some deodorant, maybe. You got a lot of time to sit and talk bad about other people and condemn other people and scheme and plot and all this other type of stuff. Why don't you do something good for somebody for a change? Start generating some good karma, for lack of a better word. Some good, reap what you sow. Start generating some. Do some selfless acts, something that doesn't bring you anything in the physical, but brings you just a good feeling about yourself. So you can stop pretending to be a good person, but actually doing something that shows you are. And he who has deserved to drink from the ocean of life deserves to fill his cup from your little stream. He who has deserved to drink from the ocean of life. He came into life. She came into life. All those little sperms, and they were chosen, deserves to fill his or her cup from your little stream. If they are alive, they should be denied nothing. This is how we were meant to live. We were meant to be a society and an environment where everybody flourished. That's one of the things that I loved about Islam. There was no poor people at a certain point in Islam. It didn't start out that way, but eventually that's how it was. No one who considered themselves Muslim that were a part of that community were ever poor or a bum. None. And they made sure. They made sure. That is what I admire about that culture. See first that you yourself deserve to be a giver, not that you deserve to be a receiver. Do you deserve to be a giver? That's completely opposite than what we think. But doesn't God say, don't think like these people of the land? These people of the land would say, do I deserve to receive? Damn, I don't think I deserve to receive that. I can't appreciate this love in my life because I don't think I deserve it because of all the things I've done. Damn, I can't accept this money or this gift that you want to give me because I don't think I deserve it. He's saying, see first that you yourself deserve to be a giver and an instrument of giving. Because, oh, if you only understood the law of reciprocation. Oh, if you only understood the law of attraction. Oh, if you only understood the law of give and take. If you understood that if you give out plenty, the universe, God, the energy that you are putting out has to come back to you. You know it. What you put out will come back to you. You know it in some way. If you put that tangible energy out there with the right intention, because with the bad intention, it will come back to you with that same bad intention. Which means this is going to be some work for scammers and schemers and people that are hurt and bitter and resentful. They're not going to just be able to go out there and just give. They're going to go out there and give and get back the same energy that they put out, which means somebody else resentful and bitter give to them and then set them up. And then later on want something back in return for it. And that could end up turning out really bad and really ugly. Really bad and really ugly. I've seen lives be taken for that type of giving. No, the heart space has to be corrected first. For in truth, it is life that gives unto life, while you who deem yourself a giver are but a witness. For in truth, it is life that gives unto life. Life is a giver. Look at life. The trees give fruits. The sun gives life. The water gives nourishment. The animals give nourishment. Everything in life is a giver except man. and woman. But I will say that we have both sides in us, each and every last one of us. There is a good giver in each and every last one of us. If we choose to suppress that, that is our choice. And we have chosen our lot and decided what will come back to us based on a lot of times what somebody else has given us. While you who deem yourself a giver are but a witness to how life gives constantly. Life constantly gives to us the air that you breathe, and yet you want to give nothing back for your life. In fact, you want to take from others while life gives you breath. You want to take people's personality, their property, their fame, their fortune, their prestige, their opportunities, their love, while life continues to give you everything that you cherish. Oh, you who are afraid to die, hear me now. You owe life. You owe life to life. You owe love to love. You are in debt for the things that you've done to the world itself, the people that you've hurt. Though you may have been hurt, the only thing that life is witnessing is what you've chosen to do in response. How you have chosen to deal with it. Have you become a weak slug, primitive pygmy of a human being, of what you once were, which was royalty and sovereignty and power and glory and a representative of life itself? Or have you let yourself be the other, hoping that with enough retaliation, somehow you'll be happy, or you'll feel exonerated or vindicated, or have enough revenge that somehow your life would become happy and joyful and good? Or that you would steal enough money or enough personas that somehow you would be fulfilled in life? No. How has that been working out for you? Are you today more peaceful? Or are you today more in turmoil? Do you have proof that crime doesn't pay? Do you have proof that love conquers all? All. All. Do you have proof that true strength is rare? Do you have proof that everyone's not the same? Do you have proof that some people you thought you were better than are actually better than you? Do you have proof that what you thought you saw was just a delusion and a lie based on you operating in your lower, weak self by choice? And do you have proof that you could have been better? that you could have thought better, that you could have acted better, that you could have made better choices, that you could have decided to look at it a different way. And what do you do with that information when you know it's too late? Well, I'll tell you what you do. And this is serious. And it's a secret. You treat people good. Give God his props. And be authentic. Even if all the people around you don't like it. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you, Bree, for being with me on this. I appreciate you giving me company. I really do. And there's something in you, man. I don't know what it is, but you're gonna be seeing some good things. Things are gonna work out. You're gonna figure out some things. I believe it. So hold your head, hang in there, and keep on riding, because you already know what it is. You have a good day, all of you. And I'll be back. You already know what it is.